Hey, good morning, everybody. Listen, one of the most important things that I did in creating the success that I've had in my business life and even in my personal life was really taking control of my time management. So here's 7 mental techniques to improve your time management. Beneficial time management is something most of us struggle with in a world that certainly has no shortage of distractions. You know, there's tons of distractions, TV, there's, all the social media stuff. I mean, it's endless. It becomes all too easy to waste away hours or even days on activities that are neither useful nor really all that enjoyable. If you would like to start getting more value out of the hours you've been given, check out these 7 mental techniques for improving your time management. Number 1, visualize your daily goals. You know, when you wake up each morning, decide then and there what you want to do with that day. In fact, do it the night before. One of the things that really dramatically changed my productivity and accelerated my success path was making the commitment to plan every hour of the following day before I went to bed each night. So I would sit down and I would, before I went to bed, I would never go to bed without having every single hour planned out what I was going to do. If I had to make calls to certain people, or I had to, maybe do some training with individuals, or I had appointments that I had to keep, or I had prospecting time that I needed to account for, or I had to prepare for a presentation of some sort, anything, no matter what, I had every hour planned out of the day so that when I got up in the morning, I just hit the ground running. One of the things I found, one of the benefits of doing this is, one, of course, you don't waste any time. You start getting way, way more efficient, and you start getting way more done because you're not allowing things to get in the way. The other thing that happens, you sleep better. When you have everything planned out, you don't have to worry about, I got to remember to call John Smith, or I got to do this, right? You don't have to worry about that. It's all pre-planned. So all you have to do is get up in the morning, take a look at your plan, which is your daily calendar, and then boom, one by one, start knocking things off. That doesn't mean that everything's going to go, perfectly that day. Sometimes you have to rearrange. Sometimes you have to, something comes up and you have to move it into another spot. But what's important is that you have a plan. And so when people try to, take your time, if you have a plan, you have things that you're doing. You say, if they say, can I talk to you right now? I say, no, I'm in the middle of something I'm doing. I have an appointment right now. Or if they want you to do something for them or meet with them, say, I'm not able to do it right then because I already have a commitment at that time. You can put off all the people that are time wasters, and then you just tell them, look, I can do it this day at this time or whatever. You dictate how your time is being invested versus letting other people start taking your time. You got to be very careful, especially when you go into your office and there's other people around and they're popping in and all that. You've got to be able to say, look, I'm in the middle of something. I can't talk to you right now. It's not rude. It's just that you have a plan and you're working your plan, and you don't want to let anything or anybody, interfere with that. So when you wake up each morning, assuming you've already planned, what tasks do you need to accomplish? What activities do you want to enjoy? It's important to note that daily goals don't necessarily have to be work-related. In fact, sometimes it's just your, spending time with your family or enjoying a day on a golf course or doing something that you really like to do. Like if I play golf now, somebody says, hey, can I talk to you? Maybe my golf game is at noon, all right? And so I'm going to be busy for at least 5 hours from 1 to 5. So if somebody says, can I talk to you at, 2 o'clock? I said, no, I got a commitment that day. I'm I've already having a commitment. I'm not able. I could talk to you after 5. So if somebody tries to interfere with that, or time with my family, one of the things I used to do often, not every day, but often, I would almost every day take my kids to school when they were little, and then I would many times pick them up after school, 2:30, 3 o'clock, take them to the park, go catch a movie in the middle of the day, and because most of my appointments were at night, I'd start my appointments around 5 or 6, so I would spend that time with them. So if somebody asked for me if I could spend some time with them or talk to them during the time with my family, with my kids, I would say, no, I've got a commitment that time. I didn't tell them, no, I'm playing with my kids, or I'm taking my kids to the movies, or I'm, at the park with my kids. You don't need to tell them what you're doing. I just tell them I have a commitment, which I did. I had a commitment with my family. And so it's none of their business what I'm doing with that time. All they need to know is I'm not able to do it that time, but I could do it at this time. Then I'll tell them when I can meet or when I can talk to them. The point is taking control of your time. That's what you want to do. Then take a few minutes to visualize all these tasks as if they're already completed. How would you feel if they were already done? This sense of fulfillment will renew your drive to complete your task that day and not to put them off any longer. So when you can start visualizing your goals and taking control of your time, amazing things will start to happen in your business. Now, it's not going to happen overnight, but you do a continuous where you're always in management, in control of your time. You're doing all the most productive things you possibly can on any given day, at any given hour. Great things are going to start happening. Number 2, avoid putting off tasks. We as humans have this unfortunate tendency to spend more mental energy worrying about the tasks we have to do than we spend actually doing them. When you put off tasks, they're always going to be in the back of your mind. It's difficult to enjoy leisure time when you always either are consciously or subconsciously thinking about the work you're putting off. So to avoid wasting mental energy worrying about these unfinished to-dos, always complete tasks as they come up. So as that list comes on an hour, maybe you have to make a tough call to somebody, or you're calling a prospect that you're kind of nervous about calling, or you're calling. In my case, sometimes I was trying to recruit somebody that I thought was really great. I would be a little nervous about calling them. I just did it. You just do it. And you get the habit of just doing the most productive thing possible at every given moment. I have that on my phone. I have that everywhere. Do the most productive thing possible every given moment. I live by that for the longest time, and it makes a huge difference, right? Number 3, set deadlines. Few things are more motivating than a deadline. Some tasks given to you will inherently come with a deadline, but tasks that don't, you stand to benefit a lot by setting one of your own. Deadlines have a way of breaking procrastination and can motivate you even when you have no desire to complete the task. It's important, though, when you set deadlines for yourself that you actually stick to them. If you start ignoring the deadlines you set, then soon they will have little value to your time management efforts. Number 4, make a to-do list. That to-do list is that list that you put together before you go to bed each night. That's the to-do list. That's what you have to do the following day. One of the best time management tools you can do is a to-do list, something about writing out the tasks you have to complete on a piece of paper or on your phone. I use my phone, right? Makes them feel more doable. It provides you with a visible, tangible way to see how much you have still to do and to keep track of the things that you've already done. As an added bonus, marking an item off your to-do list is a feel-good reward and in and of itself. And that's really important that you do that. You make that list so that you don't have to think. You just start doing. You start acting. Because the key to having a lot of success is the level to which you act. If you have massive action, you're going to have massive results over time. Number 5, stop multitasking. There are a lot of people who feel as if they're really good at multitasking, but very few actually are. Studies have shown that we are almost always less productive when we are trying to accomplish multiple tasks at once. By learning how to prioritize, you'll be able to get much more done than if you were multitasking. In fact, not only are we less productive when we multitask, it can also increase your chances of getting burned out, as it's more difficult and more stressful than focusing your efforts on a single task. Instead of trying to get everything done at once, start checking things off your to-do list, one task at a time, focusing all of your attention on that single task until it's complete. It's a big deal. Number 6, reward yourself. When you complete a task, reward yourself. That doesn't mean you have to throw a huge celebration every time you check off something off your to-do list. For many people, the reward for finishing a task is something as simple as going outside for a breath of fresh air or getting a can of soda from the refrigerator. Just make sure that whatever rewards you give yourself are healthy and don't take up too much of your time. For example, eating a box of donuts every time you finish a task probably isn't a good idea, and neither is taking the next 2 hours off. When done right, those small rewards can have a big effect. Number 7, take time to relax. If you're like most of us, no matter how much you do, there always still be tasks that you could be working on. Sometimes this feeling of never really being caught up can be overwhelming, and you might find yourself trying to compensate by working even longer and harder. There almost always comes a point, though, when you will burn out. From that point forward, no matter how hard you try, the work you do is not going to be the same quality as it was before, and the time it takes you to do it is going to be increased. What's worse, burning yourself out certainly isn't healthy. It's important to know when to take a step back and relax. For example, working breaks into your daily goals and rewarding yourself with short periods of relaxation. However, you make the time for it. Just knowing that taking that time for yourself is every bit as important for good time management as taking the time to complete your tasks. So if you follow these mental techniques and improve your time management, you're going to get a lot more done faster, easier than you ever thought possible. The results will astound you over time. And the fact is, very, very few people see the value of managing their time. And so as a result, they get pulled in 20 different directions. They don't get as much done. And then they wonder why things aren't going better.